Now it's a real pleasure to introduce Leah Tienou Gustafson, who's our next speaker. Leah is the Associate Director of Refugee, Family Adjustment and Employment Services at Heartland Human Care Services. Is that the right title?
Yes, it's very long.
You should get them to change it, I think. And the Heartland Human Care Services is part of an umbrella structure with a whole variety of ways of serving newcomer communities and people in need in the greater Chicago area, which is called the Heartland Alliance. Let's see, in the role that she plays though with refugee services, she oversees case management, youth and employment programs for refugee families. She's worked in this field of refugee resettlement now for 9 years, more than 9 years, both in direct service and in management roles. She's had a background in education, served in the Peace Corps in Chad. I think you're at least the second speaker today who's had Peace Corps experience, so that's great. And in addition to her work with Heartland, Leah supports refugees through work with First Free Church, where she heads the Refugee Care Partnerships team. So welcome, Leah, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Well, thank you very much, Linda. I am really excited to be here, and thank you, Elizabeth, so much for this opportunity to come and engage with you around these really important topics. So thanks. So as Linda mentioned, I work at Heartland Human Care Services in the Refugee Resettlement Program. And in my role there, I'm working with really newly arrived refugee families. Heartland resettles around 320, give or take, individuals in any year. Refugees who are coming from places like Syria, Iraq, Congo, Afghanistan, Burma, and any number of other places. And we provide a continuum of services designed to help refugees adjust and adapt to life in Chicago. So we start with picking refugees up at the airport. We are the first faces that most refugees see when they arrive. As one of the case management staff from Heartland, we are responsible for finding apartments for people, welcoming them to those apartments, helping refugees gain skills so that they can become employed. We also have English language classes so that people can learn English. And we also have youth programs and ongoing case management services for up to 5 years for the individuals who come through our programs. And so in my role at Heartland, I am directly overseeing the staff who are working directly with refugee participants. I came into the field of refugee resettlement largely for personal reasons. My family, I'm a child of immigrants. My family is originally from Burkina Faso. And so the concept of working with refugees was very attractive to me because I understood the concept of being the other. And so being able to welcome people who are also others was really important to me. But as I continued to engage in this work, I did not think that I would be doing refugee resettlement 9 years later. I was going to go for a year or two, but it got me. But as I continued to engage in the work, I really became more and more attuned to how this work aligned with my faith and my calling as a Christian. As I thought about refugee resettlement, I think I came to understand how this very thing that I was doing was integral to the life that we're called to as Christians, to welcome the stranger, to live a life of lavish and generous hospitality, and to also be really aware of the fact that we are also strangers in this world. And so as we continue to engage with refugee communities, as Christians, we're very much aware of the fact that, that we are called to be a welcoming force. And I think also, we're very much aware of the fact that we are called to recognize other people as humans and therefore recognize their dignity. I've heard the term dignity a lot today. I've only been here for like an hour and I've heard it like 50 times. And I think for me, as we engage in, as a Christian engaging in refugee resettlement, the concept of dignity is integral to the work that I do every day. Whether that is me actually working one-on-one with a participant who is here and having a really difficult time adjusting, or whether that's me sitting down with a staff person and sort of talking through what it means to be a case manager or an employment specialist. It is the concept of dignity that drives us to provide, to do the work that we're doing, but to do it in a way that is dignified and thoughtful and allows people to make choices for themselves. This is increasingly really difficult in the world of refugee resettlement. I'm sure Linda knows this very well. The refugee resettlement program in the United States has very clear parameters. There are very real financial constraints. There is a very difficult political climate. Refugees, there's a lot of talk out there that's not really welcoming to refugee communities. And in the face of all that, the concept of providing dignified resettlement is extremely important. And for me, is fueled by my deep faith. So that's sort of my day job. And as I continue to engage with these thoughts, that has also led into sort of my non-day job, my work at my church. Linda, you actually mentioned this in your welcome comments about how the refugee resettlement model has really shifted in the last 40 or 50 years to one that's a lot more professionalized, and what we're losing is a lot of the human interaction. And working with refugees and also being a Christian has really led me to engage with my church and to help build a ministry that's around refugee care partnerships ministry. And the goal of this ministry is to do exactly what Linda was saying, is to provide opportunities for us as a church to be the welcomers to newly arrived refugees as they enter Chicago. And so we are partnering. I'm in a very great opportunity. I have a great opportunity to be able to have my church partner with my refugee settlement agency that I work with, to have people from the church also be the second face, or the other face that that refugees want to see when they come to the airport. So we have church members who commit to helping gather things for refugees when they are newly arrived, but then also commit to be supports for refugees for at least 4 months when they are newly arrived. And that, I think, has been very impactful as the church, again, recognizes our responsibility to be welcomers and to be hospitable. But we also are deeply impacted by the opportunities that we have to engage with people, to meet people who are different than us, to, again, be reminded that we're all strangers here. So we actually, everyone's sort of a stranger in this world. This is not our ultimate place that we're going to end up. And I think engaging in refugee ministry has done that in a really profound sense for the people in my congregation, and definitely in my life. So.
Thank you, Leah, for speaking so eloquently about this intersection of your own faith, faith in action, and your professional service. It's very helpful, I think, to what we're trying to consider and think about today.